Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, now we know, well, I've been new since Crawford destroyed Jeff Horn. That he was a serious problem in the welterweight division. And now, I think the consensus would agree that Crawford, at least on paper, well, not on paper, but on the eye test comparison of similar opponents, especially after the Sean Porter fight, I think everybody, the consensus agrees that Crawford is the man to beat. He is considered the #1 guy in the division. Ring Magazine's already updated their rankings. Terence Crawford has leapfrogged him in the #1 spot. And he's the guy to beat in the welterweight division until proven otherwise. Now, there's absolutely no chance Errol Spence is going to fight Terence Crawford next. It ain't happening. I'd be shocked. I mean, it would show me that he has a lot more courage than I thought he does. But I just don't see it. Him fighting the most dangerous welterweight in the world, coming off, what, a year and change layoff, an eye injury. It ain't happening. I mean, that's wishful thinking. Maybe Errol, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but judging from the reaction after Crawford stopped Sean Porter, I seriously doubt Errol steps into the ring with Crawford in his very next fight. So there's going to be some fine-tuning needed. I mean, if Errol's smart, you're not going to fight this guy at that in that type of position. Inactivity, year layoff, coming off a weak performance, getting chipped up in sparring before the Pacquiao fight. I mean, Errol was lucky that fight didn't happen. Pacquiao would have worked him. Imagine that fight was in Texas. The fight would have went ahead. Las Vegas, because of their jurisdiction, was the reason why the fight was canceled. If the fight was in Texas, the fight would have went ahead. But let's see. So let's see what non-punching welterweight Spence is going to step into the ring next, because we all know it's not going to be Crawford. I mean, the odds will be 2 to 1, maybe almost a 3 to 1 favorite for Crawford going into that fight, coming off the performance that he had. Look, I wasn't all thoroughly impressed with Crawford's performance against Sean. I honestly thought it was a close fight. Thought he was slightly ahead. Thought he figured him out towards the end. Was starting to catch him with the counters. But you gotta give him the credit for being the first man to stop Sean, to do it in that fashion, and he made a statement. Even though the fight was close, it was competitive, he made a statement at the end. He did something Errol Spence wasn't able to. So, but at the end of the day, we all know Errol Spence is going to be the reason why the fight's not going to happen next, because he simply ain't ready. And I don't think he'll ever be ready, so it doesn't even matter how many tune-ups he has. But here's who Spence is going to fight. I got a pretty good idea. It won't be this guy. WC's protecting Errol Spence like they usually do with Heyman fighters. They're ordering Virgil Ortiz to fight David Evanesian in order for Virgil to get a shot at Errol Spence at this recent convention. WC, with their fuckways as usual, always protecting these Heyman fighters. I mean, Heyman must be handing out some fat-ass envelopes, but Jesus. I mean, look what the WC does. They're protecting Charlo from Munguia. They're protecting Spence from Virgil Ortiz, making Ortiz fight an eliminator, even though he's #1. And this is a dangerous fight for Virgil. I think Virgil beats him, but if you're #1 here already, and you're going to be mandated next, well, it's not going to be anytime soon, within the next 9 months. By the end of next year, Virgil will be mandated to fight Crawford if he still holds that belt. So why take this risk when you can immediately fight for the title within 9 months, and pick and choose who you want to fight in the interim. So who's Errol Spence going to fight? Because we all know it's not going to be Terence Crawford. Ugas has been ordered to fight Stanionis in a 4-man box-off to determine the true WBA champ. So he's off the table unless Ugas vacates the title. I don't know why would he. I mean, why would Spence fight Ugas without a title? It makes no sense to me. Just another L on pay-per-view, another 200K buys. Be lucky if he hits 300K. Another L for Heyman for that fight. So I doubt it. Here's a strong possibility of who I think. I think this is the perfect opponent for a comebacking Spence, a light punching Curatatillo. He's been the mandatory for the IBF for I don't know how long. But I believe this is the guy who he's going to fight next. 18-0, 10 KOs, decent boxer, no power, perfect fight for Spence to get back, get some rounds in, fight an undefeated guy who can't punch, who's not very strong, but a decent boxer, and he's also a southpaw, I believe. No, he's orthodox, my bad. But he's like around the same height. So I believe this is the guy that Spence is going to fight next. The mandatory is long overdue. The IBF is very strict. They've been giving Spence a lot of leeways because of the injury and the time off. I'm surprised he hasn't been strict yet. But I believe that's who Errol Spence is going to fight. He needs at least one fight to, get the cobwebs out. There's just no way he's going to fight Crawford coming off a year and change layoff and coming off an eye injury. So I know it's disappointing to hear, but it is what it is. Even though Terence Crawford is a free agent, Errol Spence is in no rush to fight Terence Crawford because he knows what will happen if he fights Crawford in his very first fight back coming off the injury and layoff and the very bad performance against Danny Garcia. So, I bow down. Crawford's the best at 147. There's no one at this weight class, among the champions at least, that are going to beat him anytime soon. Wouldn't pick Virgil right now to beat him. Jerome Ennis he has the potential to do it, but Crawford's style is all wrong for this guy. He has the tools, but defensively, and with the way he gets caught by a counterpuncher, I wouldn't be comfortable putting Ennis in with Crawford right now. But if Ennis is going to go after somebody, it should be him because he's the more beatable guy, the more vulnerable guy coming off an injury, layoff, and a weak performance. But this guy is most likely going to get his shot first. Easy pickings, light punching, not very strong. The perfect opponent for Spence to get back and get a little warm-up fight before he either ducks Terence, which is a possibility. Errol may just move up to 154 and fight Jermell and say that he's the champ. But Jermell and Castano gonna have a rematch, but Castano is putting himself in a position to get robbed again by fighting in Houston, fighting in Texas again, where he was robbed the first time. But hey man, when you don't have the promotional pull, when you're not the American fighter, this is what happens to the foreign fighter. Even though Brian Castano is really the true undisputed champion right now. Will Crawford get his chance to be undisputed at welterweight? It's tough to say. I mean, Ugas is going to be busy unless he vacates the title, which I don't see him doing that. That'll be dumb on his part. He's a Cuban fighter that no one cares about. He needs that title. And Errol Spence, he needs more time to get ready because he ain't ready right now. And Keith Thurman, he needs more time to get ready. He needs 8 months for a Terence Crawford showdown. Man, to me, this division is weak. Inactive, injury-prone Spence on his way out. Ugas got a gift against a 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao, didn't beat him. Sean Porter retired. Jerome Ennis and Virgil Ortiz are the two best upcoming prospects. Stanionis is probably going to beat Ugas. And Crawford, he has options. He could, wait to see if Keith Thurman is serious. Maybe take the fight with him in early summer. And then there's a possibility he can move up to 54 and enforce his mandatory against whoever the winner is against Charlo and Castano. Plenty of options for Crawford. He's now a free agent, and he should remain a free agent to see where things head. And when it comes to offers, he's being advised by MTK, so he's good when it comes to the management department. He's getting paid handsomely, especially from that last fight, $6 million to fight Porter. Where the hell did they find that money for a 200K pay-per-view? But Terence Crawford's in a great position. He's the best welterweight in the world, and Errol Spence, no chance he fights him next. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.